Happy birthday, Up. Ah, yes, good old Up. Here's a little fun thing about me, and it kind of ties in with Up. When a movie would come out, like in theaters and stuff like that, and I see like trailers or I go to the theaters and actually see it come out and I'm watching it and everything like that, I always have the stigma, even years later, that it's a new movie. Any movie that may have came out in my lifetime but I didn't know actually came out. As a kid, I'd always think that like they just kind of were regular things that existed since the beginning of time or long before I was a kid or whatever, not knowing that I kind of grew up during a time before even Up came out, for crying out loud. So it always seemed like something that was always there since the beginning. And movies like Brave and Inside Out and a few other Pixar movies don't sink into me quite as well because I saw them, come out and everything like that. Unlike movies like Wall-E, Up, Ratatouille, and especially Cars, and even The Incredibles, which came out the same year I was born. But anyways, as for Up itself, it's their, I believe, 10th Pixar movie that came out. Yeah, I believe the 10th one. And it came out in 2009. And while not being one of my favorites, is an absolute classic that I really do love. And yes, before you say it, of course, that first several minutes of the film is incredible, of course. It is beautiful, depressing, heartbreaking, but beautiful, engaging, and funny. It really is a great sequence. But that doesn't bog down the rest of the movie, in my opinion. I love the rest of the movie so much. And while there's maybe like one or two small clicks or gripes or whatever with it, I don't really care, to be honest, because it really is such a great film. I love the atmosphere. I love the twist villain, to be honest, and I think he's really entertaining and really maniacal and a lot better well done than people like Hans, the massage bot, or Mr. That Was His Mistake, or Professor Mayor Sheep Dweeb, or whatever. Disney doesn't know how to get them right other than King Candy. Ah, yes, Wreck-It Ralph. Don't worry, guys, I will make a birthday video for Wreck-It Ralph. One, that is. One. Wreck-It Ralph 1, I mean by that. Anyways, Up basically is about Carl Fredricksen and his wife that he's married to getting the idea of going far away to South America and exploring and living down in there and stuff like that. But in the beginning sequence, spoiler alert, his wife passes away before they can even fulfill that dream. And years later, Carl Fredricksen has now become a really crotchety old man who gets upset and stuff like that. And yeah, eventually he goes through various problems like people wanting to take his house that he's had ever since he married his wife back then. And he come across his various characters and everything like that. Most importantly of all, the little boy who I absolutely love, the one, the only, Russell. Which, by the way, years ago when I went to Disney World, I had a picture taken of me with the little Doug, the dog, and Russell, and it was really fun. Also, as a kid, I had no idea that Russell was supposed to be Asian. I didn't know that. Again, I didn't know of a lot of stuff. I just kind of accepted it, kind of just like, that's just another kid like me and all, just kind of looking chubby. But yeah, and basically throughout the film and all, Carl Ferguson finally gets the idea. Once, after some incidents that happened, he finally decides that he can't take this anymore, and he attaches a bazillion balloons to the top of his house through the chimney and everything like that, and takes his house with him all the way to South America, to beautiful falls. Paradise Falls, that's right. And unexpectedly, um, his little, well, not, I can't really say his, but the little boy Russell I brought up earlier, who's a Boy Scout, or actually I should say a wilderness explorer, which I really respect because I was in Boy Scouts. I left it because there was a few kids that were really annoying and bullying and stuff like that. And eventually I just kind of dropped out of the thing, almost unintentionally, to be honest. And then I moved on to like Franklin around that time and stuff like that. Kind of a long story for another time. But I do respect Boy Scouting and wilderness exploring a heck of a lot. I love nature, as I've showcased many times in the past. I absolutely love dinosaurs and the Mariana Trench and camping. I love all that good stuff. Heck, I'm going up north sometime tonight to see my godfather Jeff, who I see all the time, like every Friday almost. But still, him being a wilderness explorer is something I think is really fun, funny, and quite cool. Plus, he, and as well as a bunch of the other characters, are super quotable in this movie, too. And it's really entertaining. And yeah, Russell and Carl are stuck together on this journey as Carl eventually is on the journey to get his house, once they land in South America, down to Niagara Falls. Or up, I guess. Kind of explains the title. Anyways, yeah. During all this though, and showcased at the beginning of the movie, there's a villain who's also pretty dang awesome, who isn't showcased as a villain. It's a guy that Carl idolized as a kid, and he's basically the person that inspired him to go to the falls to begin with. And lo and behold, he comes across a gigantic bird called a snipe that eventually is called Kevin the crane. I'm just kidding. And eventually a dog named Doug who has a collar that allows him to speak. Things get really weird. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, they come across who else? Charles Muntz, and it's pretty dang awesome. And eventually, it's discovered that Charles is after the bird still, and then they realize that they have the bird. And afterwards, after some nice conversations and stuff like that, Charles decides to go after them in order to get the bird, even if it means killing them, because he's been down there for so many years. And yes, he has a bunch of other talking dogs as well with him. And the rest of the journey kind of plays out the way you'd think it is, and it's really fun and enjoyable, and super heartfelt. I really do love this movie. The animation is beautiful, the humor works at all times, I must say. It's super memorable and nostalgic for me. I love the writing of the characters and their development together. They're just a joy to be together. And I love seeing Doug being cute. I love the little snipe babies as well that Kevin has. Just wonderful stuff. The way it ends is also super heartwarming. And also in the end credits, with those little pictures similar to Cars 3, there's one where they have Carl and Russell together over a window and they're talking through cups and a string. A few days ago, I was in my physics class. Actually, I think it was yesterday. And we were basically doing that, but with some like metallic slinky looking wires and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, Up is a really good movie. And one other fun thing I want to bring up is that there's a construction worker who's played by John Ratzenberger, a guy who plays somebody in every Pixar film, or at least I think. And he's played characters like Ham, P.T. Flea, he's one of the lesser exciting ones to be honest, but also the Abominable Snowman, and who else? Mac, for crying out loud. Holy cow. So yeah, that's always fun to hear his voice in the movie. That, and also, there are plenty of YouTube poops of this movie too that I also really find hilarious. One's from people like Yoshi Maniac, and there was one from, I believe, yeah, Bobbert the Wise, and from Quistoff YTP, and some of them have titles like Down and Yerp Sup. They're all hilarious. And also, I feel like I kind of stole a joke from one of these YouTube poops, kind of, but put it into a different movie. You know, in my Night at the Museum YTP, the second one I made, where you have the blooming, it's in the blooming title, for crying out loud, Larry Daly gets assassinated by a random dragon. That was basically taken from Quistoff YTP's YTP of Up, basically, which is called Yerp. And once you see it, Carl, after some funny lines, Russell's looking up. Hey, look, it's a fish. What? And you could see nothing but like clouds, some ominous music, and what are their names now? Crap, I forgot what their names are. Hiccup and Toothless, right? And they're like flying. You could just barely see them in the distance, but it's so faint. It's like, what? I don't see anything. There's nothing there. Roar! Ah, boom! It's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. It's so random and out of nowhere, and I love it. And because of that, I immediately thought to myself with like Larry screaming and him looking up towards the woolly mammoth sequence and everything like that. I immediately knew I just had to do that with my Night at the Museum YTP, and I did. I think I gave him credit in the description as well. But yeah, I got that little idea from that YTP, just so you know. So yeah. Up is a really good movie and an absolute must-watch for anybody who loves animation, or just heartfelt stories in general, or old people, or wilderness exploring, or dogs, or colorful birds, or South America, or any of that good jazz. So yeah, happy birthday, Up. What an awesome Pixar movie.